Misconception. I am not a married person, I just have the word married in my name. I, Muzibai, a commoner, have a system where as long as I stay by the side of someone with a noble status for 30 seconds, I can touch them and earn points. With these points, I can purchase goods in the system store and change my life against the heavens. What? I will replace my elder brother in getting married and celebrating, and also let me enter my uncle's mansion. Is the other party a vegetable? Have I become a shield? No, the other person's status is noble or vegetative. Please make sure to weld me and her together. Upon hearing a dream, my father was a national uncle. Due to some unexpected circumstances, he became a vegetable and inexplicably got married. I resisted him and thought he would be dissatisfied, but his meticulous care of me helped me out of the shadow of becoming a vegetable. The only question is, why does he always like to touch my hands? Shouldn't there be any bad intentions? Keywords of the novel. Immortal cultivation. The Empress is a vegetative person, and I am so happy that there is no pop-up window. Immortal cultivation. The Empress is a vegetative person, and I am so happy that I am so happy. Download the complete text. Chapter 1. I'm going to add more, but I'm ecstatic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I'm going to add more, but I'm ecstatic. Muzibai, I see you're already quite big. I've arranged a marriage for you, and you should also know that Wen's second daughter, Wen's family is big and prosperous, which is a good destination for you. Home. That's the burden. Muzibai, the illegitimate son of the Mu family in the capital city, was born to a maid. For his father Mahito, it was just a momentary impulse, but who knew that he fell into his soul and became pregnant? On a whim, Muzibai naturally had no significant position in the Mu family and could be said to be very humble. As a traveler, Muzibai doesn't lack golden fingers, but he can't use them. The system is a store with simple usage. As long as there are points, you can purchase any product in the store. Product 1. Divine Essence Wash Pill, priced at 1 million points. Product 2. Taixian Jibao, selling price 2 million points. Product 3. Female Anchor's Pink Companion, price 10 points. Product 4. Shennong Pharmacopoeia, selling price 10,000 points. Product 5. Xiuxian Technique, selling price 100,000 points. The store has 5 products every day, and they are refreshed on time. The products are random, and once purchased, they will not be refreshed again. Everything is good except for occasional strange things that come in, but overall, it's very good, just no points. How do I earn points? It's simple. You need the other person to be a noble person and stay by their side for 30 seconds to trigger a touch. After touching, you can earn a certain amount of points. It looks impressive, right? Just like the newly released equipment Heart Steel in League of Legends, I originally wanted to join Steelgate Warrior. Unfortunately, so far, Muzibai has not been used once, just because as an illegitimate son, Muzibai has never had the opportunity to interact with people of noble status. The noble status is determined by the system, and the only chance is when Mu Hadao's youngest daughter is born, full moon wine. Just as Muzibai was about to pick up her sister, she was blocked by the eldest lady, thinking that Muzibai's status was lowly and unworthy. Name. Muzibai, Cultivation. None, Integral. 0, I can't even afford the pink buddies of female anchors, sigh. Speaking of this second Miss Wen Renling Meng did indeed have a marriage with the Mu family, referring to marrying the young master of the Mu family. Wen Renling Meng has an outstanding appearance and unparalleled talent. Unfortunately, half a year ago, our family went to the moon watching tower to observe the moon. After returning, they fainted upon hearing a spiritual dream and have since become vegetative. Wen Renfu also had a headache because of this matter. He invited countless famous doctors, even many imperial doctors, but was helpless about this matter. The most famous imperial physician in the capital is also not good at medicine, and it is estimated that he can only be a vegetative person for a lifetime. Seeing that the engagement time is approaching, Wen Renfu naturally wants to complete the engagement, and there is a saying of congratulations. The Mu family definitely disagrees. How could Mu Hadao let his son marry a vegetative person? Even if he heard of Lingmeng before, he is still a vegetative person and a useless person now. But due to the influence of Wen Renfu, it was the uncle of the current emperor who didn't want to directly withdraw from the marriage. So, he thought of Muzibai, who was a good shield. Anyway, in terms of marriage, only the son of Mu Hadao was mentioned, without specifying which child he was. Mahito only has 2 sons, one of whom is Muzibai. At that time, the Wenren mansion did not know that Mahito also had such a son, otherwise, such a loophole would not have occurred. In order to demonstrate his righteousness, Mu Hadao bluntly stated that Lingmeng's niece had difficulty moving and, for the sake of Lingmeng's niece, directly let Muzibai go and take good care of Lingmeng. Wen Renfu suffered such a dumbfounded defeat. Although he was reluctant in his heart, he could only endure it. Muzibai should be Muzibai, just as it was to bring joy to Wen Renmeng. Anyway, I guess I won't be able to wake up after hearing someone's spiritual dream, and I believe there won't be any objections. Thinking of this, Muzibai suddenly realized that it's not right, this is a good thing. Wen Renlingmeng is a vegetative person, and Wen Renfu is a relative of the imperial family. Upon hearing that Lingmeng's identity and status are definitely prestigious, wouldn't Muzibai have the opportunity to touch them? Thinking of this, taking a deep breath, the chill in my heart decreased significantly. All along, this father has never cared about himself, but today he gave himself a big gift. This matter has developed to this point, and it is already a certainty with no room for reversal. Not long after, the wedding was held, and none of the Mu family went. Before leaving, Mu Hadao even called on Muzibai to give instructions. After you go to Wenren Mansion, take good care of Lingmeng's niece, and everything will be mainly Lingmeng's niece. Now that Lingmeng's niece is weak, there is no need to return home. Muzibai has long been accustomed to it. Even the maids in the Mu mansion have a calm attitude towards Muzibai, without any difficulties, but it cannot be said to be very good. This wedding was not a grand event, nor did it have many guests, as expected. Moreover, the faces of the people in the mansion were not very good. Muzibai's face was also full of seriousness, almost shedding 2 tears. However, Muzibai's heart was laughing, almost not holding back, and she had tried her best to hold back. Can I not be happy about this matter? It's not good to just laugh in such situations, so I just sneak around and smile when no one is around. Wen Renfu was quite polite to Muzibai, this uncle, and did not speak ill of him. At least he treated Muzibai as a person. At night, Muzibai was sent into the bridal chamber, claiming to have entered with a vegetative person. Moreover, there were more than 10 maids standing on both sides, which was terrifying. This is not like entering a bridal chamber, but rather like a trial meeting, with each eye scrutinizing Muzibai as if examining a prisoner. Let's all go down, don't have so many people standing here. At this moment, the door opened and a maid dressed in extraordinary attire walked in. At a glance, it was clear that this maid was the close maid of Wen Renlingmeng, a little goose who had been living with Wen Renlingmeng since childhood and had a very good relationship. Muzibai looked at Wen Renlingmeng lying on the bed, dressed in red, stunningly beautiful. It was indeed as rumored, but unfortunately, he was now a vegetable. Even the most ordinary eating, drinking, and urinating require someone to take care of. Think about how arrogant the rumored Wen Renlingmeng is, and now, it is estimated that if Wen Renlingmeng knew everything that happened to him, he would undoubtedly collapse. Muzibai turned his head and the little goose looked up and down at Muzibai with a hint of vigilance. Although Muzibai appears to be the uncle of the Wenren mansion, most people in the Wenren mansion do not recognize him. With Muzibai's identity, who can look up to him? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. I just want to touch, without any bad intentions. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2. I just want to touch, without any bad intentions. She was not sure who Muzibai was and what his character was, but as the young lady was doing now, if she were not there, Muzibai would take advantage of the young lady's coma and act like a beast. What should she do? The young lady who has become a vegetable is already pitiful enough. If she is unlucky, how can the little goose bear it? 30 seconds is already enough. When Muzibai saw the touching and smelling spiritual dream, it was so drooling, like when Muzibai was playing a big fight, let me touch the steel of his heart. Seeing Little Goose's thoughts, I also noticed that Little Goose is extraordinary. As a close servant of a wealthy family, who has no ability. If there is anything wrong with herself, she will be taken down by Little Goose in an instant. This is also the meaning of the little goose guarding here, which may also have the meaning of a well-known seal. Muzibai is also speechless, so you don't trust me so much. Your young lady is already a vegetable. If I treat her like that, wouldn't I be inferior to even a beast? Muzibai couldn't handle so much anymore, so he walked up directly and the little goose followed Muzibai to the side of Wen Ren Ling Meng. Place your fingers on the wrist of the person who hears the spiritual dream, and make a posture of feeling the pulse. Finally let me touch it. Muzibai felt relieved and suddenly felt happy. How many years have passed? System, do you know how I came through all these years? When I saw those high-ranking officials and nobles in the Mu mansion, my eyes began to hallucinate, as if they had red marks hanging on their bodies, as if seducing Muzibai. Let Muzibai go and touch them quickly. But Muzibai has no chance at all. In this life, the two types of people that Muzibai hates the most are those who take the steel of my heart and those who don't let me fold the steel of my heart. And seeing the steel that can stack the heart, but cannot stack it, is undoubtedly the most painful thing. I really want to hear the sound of this bell. Dang! First touch, points plus 10,000, comfortable. I couldn't wait to take a look at my own panel. 10,000 points have already been credited, and I have finally taken the first step to change my destiny. Auntie knows medical skills, asked the little goose in confusion, thinking that Muzibai wanted to do something, but he didn't expect it to be a pulse for the young lady. I have inquired about the news of Muzibai, and he is just a scholar. He has never heard of being skilled in medicine, so he is skeptical about Muzibai's actions. A little bit, Kiko nodded slightly. Listening to the heartbeat of the human spirit dream, I feel very strange in my heart. According to reason, the heartbeat of the human spirit dream should be very calm. Why is the heartbeat of the human spirit dream so fast? Jumping so fast or a vegetative person? Counting for a minute, a total of 97 times, a vegetative person's heartbeat is so fast. Why is this? Wood is white and incomprehensible. Don't worry, touch it for a while, the next 30 seconds will be better. What does Uncle see? The little goose furrowed its brows and asked, thinking to itself, Uncle must be deceiving someone, he must be trying to take advantage of Mississippi. Don't worry, your young lady's pulse is a bit strange. Muzibai felt his heart beating faster and faster than before. Is it likely to take over 100 in a minute? The little goose said displeased, strange. What can be strange? When the imperial physician comes to diagnose and treat, they all say that the young lady's pulse is no different from that of an ordinary person. Can it be difficult for Uncle to see it? Muzibai. To be honest, no one believes it. Your young lady's arteries are like dancing, and I suspect she's using the Morse code. Can you tell me she's no different from an ordinary person? Ignoring the little goose, I continue to feel the pulse of the human spirit dream. Dang! Integral plus 20, this cheerful voice steadily increases points. The little goose has been burning incense for almost a few sticks when it sees Muzibai, but still doesn't let go. Even if we take advantage, we shouldn't just focus on the young lady's pulse, right? Are you really checking your pulse? But these past few days, I haven't seen anything that Muzibai has noticed. Muzibai asked, what did the imperial physician say? It's no different from ordinary people, it's just that they haven't woken up, can't find the cause, can't get started. Muzibai carefully checked it and confirmed that it was correct, just like an ordinary person. Except for the heartbeat in the dance. It seems that she has indeed become a vegetative person, which is not easy to handle. Muzibai let out a tsk, but unfortunately, this beautiful and immortal woman is only in her prime of life. It was originally when flowers were blooming, but how could she become a vegetative person? It's cheaper than Muzibai. For Muzibai, I just want to touch and have no bad intentions. Vegetarian. The little goose frowned, not understanding the 3 words, vegetative. In her understanding, the young lady's illness was called amnesia. Muzibai explained, a vegetative person is someone whose consciousness is problematic, like a plant that cannot move and can only be taken care of by someone. Isn't it just amnesia? If you suffer from amnesia, you must talk about vegetative beings and pretend to be sophisticated. Muzibai pursed his lips and didn't have the same opinion as the little goose. Seeing Muzibai's hand still not letting go, the little goose said in silence, this is the first time I've seen Uncle pulse like this. Isn't it because I'm attached to Mississippi? The young lady's wrist is almost bare-skinned by Muzibai, and she can't bear to see it anymore. That's not true. Muzibai awkwardly withdrew his hand, then extended his other hand and placed it on the other hand that smelled the spiritual dream, continuing to pulse. Little goose. Does this uncle have any obsession with pulse? I couldn't help but cover my face. Uncle, is Mrs. Pulse really that abnormal? Muzibai nodded wildly and said, really, your young lady's pulse is indeed abnormal. If you don't believe it, you can handle it yourself. After speaking, Muzibai stepped aside a bit and still placed his hand on the wrist that smelled the spiritual dream. The little goose had a speechless expression on her face. She was a martial arts practitioner and naturally understood pulse patterns. She also showed her to Wen Lingmeng and obtained the same results as the imperial physician. I thought to myself, it must be Muzibai pretending to be a monster. After I finish pulse, I will explain that I want Muzibai to let go. What's the point of keeping a pulse for Mississippi? The little goose reached out and placed its hand on the hand that smelled the spiritual dream. At first, it didn't pay much attention, but soon after touching it, the little goose's eyebrows furrowed. The body also sat straight, with a puzzled expression more of a shock, to the extent that the little goose forgot the weight and squeezed the pulse of the person's spiritual dream with its hand. His expression became even more surprised, his eyes trembling incessantly, and he was pondering. After so long, he heard the first movement of a human spirit dream. I don't understand why my heart beats so fast when I hear someone's spiritual dream. It has never happened before. What's wrong? Releasing his hand, the little goose's face was filled with excitement and some surprise. He thought to himself, perhaps it was because he had heard that Lingmeng's condition had improved. Anyway, he must tell the master immediately. Just as he was about to leave, when he saw Muzibai still staying here, he said, you come with me to find the master and lady, hurry. Do you still want to take me? Muzibai is reluctant to let go. If you leave, it will be a good opportunity for me to score points. Only a fool can leave. A look of unwillingness. You go, I'll stay here and watch the pulse of Lingmeng at any time, said Muzibai. The little goose didn't hesitate either. Muzibai seemed to have some medical skills, so it's better to stay and take care of the young lady. Okay, take care of Mississippi. Miss is not in good condition now. Please take good care of her and I will go find the master. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Me, the Princess of Plants, got married. Very flustered. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Me, the Princess of Plants, got married. Very flustered. Don't worry, I have expertise in taking care of people. Don't worry, go ahead. After speaking, Muzibai revealed a gentleman-like smile. Thank you very much, uncle. After finishing speaking, the little goose left and hurriedly went to inform Wenren Lingmeng's father and Wenren Lanzhang. Muzibai looked at the beautiful woman lying on the bed and sat on the edge of the bed. As soon as the little goose left, Muzibai felt much more relaxed and breathed a sigh of relief, saying, "This maid has finally left, and now no one is watching. Madam, we are the only two left now." In the pitch-black cage of consciousness, she felt immense despair upon hearing someone's spiritual dream. She was not sure what had happened, but only knew that one day, while observing the moon, she seemed to have seen someone on the moon. I thought to myself, I must have misread. Who knows, after that moment, I fell into a state where I couldn't move, couldn't take care of myself, and could only rely on her for help. It's okay not to be conscious, but why do we need to be conscious? And the tactile sensation of her body is also real, it's just that she can't control her body, which makes her feel extremely hopeless. She, who has always been open-minded, her self-esteem is constantly collapsing. Everything needs to be taken care of by someone. Thinking about all these days of life, it's better to just die. Unfortunately, I don't even have the ability to commit suicide when I hear people's spiritual dreams, so I can only let my dignity slowly fade away. During this period, there was only despair, and everyone regarded themselves as a patient with amnesia. She used to be with so many people, but now, besides her parents, there is also her own maid by her side, and no one else. Not long ago, I heard the maids chatting beside me, saying that I was getting married. It was only when I heard someone's spiritual dream that I remembered that there was still an engagement with me. However, how should I get married like this? I have met my fiancée a few times and had a good impression, but I haven't heard of coming to see myself in these days. I even heard that the Mu family wanted to regret their marriage and changed someone else. I was already angry when I heard someone's spiritual dream. Yes, a vegetative person would have been thrown on the street and ignored if it weren't for his status as a royal relative. The only thing that brings comfort to Wenren Lingmeng is that every day, the little goose tells itself everything that happens in Wenren Mansion, as if it has never treated itself as a patient with amnesia, nor complained about taking care of itself. From her mouth, it was learned that her parents worked day and night for their own affairs, and her siblings were also seeking medical treatment everywhere. Upon hearing these news, I only found hope for survival after hearing my spiritual dream. Today, Little Goose told herself that it was her wedding day and her 18th birthday, and she changed into a very beautiful outfit. I also heard Little Goose talk about Muzibai, knowing that Muzibai is pitiful and sympathizing with her. Muzibai complains about herself in her heart and has entered the Wenren mansion. Moreover, her wife is also a patient with amnesia, so it is estimated that Muzibai is also very desperate. I don't know what kind of person Muzibai is, but when Little Goose said, she would watch Muzibai and never let Muzibai do anything out of line, which also made people's spiritual dreams panic. Isn't this Muzibai a disciple? In the heart of Wenren Lingmeng, today has been such a long time, until hearing the outside call to enter the bridal chamber, Wenren Lingmeng's heart lifted. Feeling someone touching him, he panicked when he heard the sound of Lingmeng. Listening to the commotion outside, he knew it was Muzibai. However, he was startled when he heard Lingmeng, whose heart was beating faster for some reason. It was instinctive. But finally, I have some sense of the body. I know Muzibai is feeling his pulse, but how could he feel his pulse like that? How long has it been? Is there someone who can sense the pulse like this? This makes people's spiritual dreams even more nervous. Time passes slowly, I don't know how long it has been, living in the heart of hearing people's spiritual dreams like years. Until I heard Muzibai's last words, there were only 2 people left. What does Muzibai want? Is it true that he is a disciple? I panicked when I heard someone's spiritual dream, but I couldn't move myself. Little Goose, come back quickly. However, there is a gap between imagination and reality. Feeling the warmth in one's hand, is it Muzibai holding his hand? I think so. I breathed a sigh of relief when I heard someone's spiritual dream. It was because I had thought too much. At this moment, I heard Muzibai speaking in my ear, seeming somewhat puzzled. It's strange, why is this pulse so outrageous? At that moment, the beat suddenly accelerated to an outrageous level, and now it has slightly eased, but still faster than the average person. I couldn't help but speculate in my heart that upon hearing someone's spiritual dream, I suddenly asked curiously, "Can you hear me speaking?" There is such a possibility, and in the world of cultivating immortals, there are all kinds of wonders. It is very likely that one can hear everything happening outside when hearing a person's spiritual dream, and their consciousness is in a clear state, similar to a ghost pressing a bed. But soon Muzibai denied this idea. He had been unconscious for more than half a year after hearing the spiritual dream. If he could hear it, it would indicate that the symptoms were not very serious. With the help of imperial medicine, he should have woken up long ago. Whether you can hear me or not, in fact, you should be very dissatisfied with this marriage. I am also very helpless, but there is no other way. I guess you are very dissatisfied with me, and in my capacity, I definitely don't deserve you. Muzibai held the hand that smelled people's spiritual dreams, looking at the points recorded, his heart was filled with joy, and he also sighed, realizing that changing fate against the heavens is just around the corner. I have to thank Wen Renlingmeng for this. If it weren't for Wen Renlingmeng, I wouldn't have known how difficult it would be to accumulate points. Maybe I would have died in this lifetime without even a coffin. Undoubtedly, hearing someone's spiritual dream is one's own lucky star. Muzibai spoke with warmth and continued, "Lingmeng, I am your husband now. I definitely hope you can get better soon. Perhaps you are now surrounded by darkness and loneliness, but you must persevere. I will always be with you." For vegetative individuals, the most important thing for their recovery is to have a good mindset. This is very important. If a vegetative individual has an unhealthy or depressed mindset, even with the help of external factors, it is difficult to wake up. At first, for Wen Renlingmeng, Muzibai may just want to brush her score, more of a utilitarian heart, but when she really saw Wen Renlingmeng, she didn't want to lie in bed all the time at this age. Although Muzibai really wanted to have a scoring tool like this. I don't know if I can hear someone's spiritual dream, but if I do, it would be boring to keep it. You must be curious about me, and I'm nothing special. I'm an ordinary commoner. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Perhaps because of Uncle's reason. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Perhaps because of Uncle's reason. A simple account of one's own background was told, which was very plain, as if it was a very ordinary thing, but only after experiencing it, can one know the bitterness in it. And in this passage, Muzibai's self-introduction allowed the unconscious Wen Renlingmeng to understand what kind of person Muzibai was. With such a past, his vigilance towards Muzibai decreased significantly. The blurry appearance of Muzibai had an edge in the heart of Lingmeng, and I was quite curious about what Muzibai looked like. So, there's nothing difficult, just grit your teeth and get through. Who can say for sure about the road ahead? I haven't given up, let alone you. It'll be better someday. After speaking, Muzibai finally felt that the pulse of the person's spiritual dream seemed to have eased a lot, no longer like before. Upon hearing the spiritual dream of the person, I felt the warmth emanating from the palm of Muzibai's hand. There was a slight decrease in resistance, and my hope for recovery became even stronger. At this moment, the door was pushed open. Quick, let me take a look at Linger. At first glance, he was a middle-aged man with a tall figure, who was exactly the father of Wen Renlingmeng, Wen Renlanzhang. As the head of the family, he was naturally very serious, and his words had an undeniable dignity. At this moment, he also panicked and ran to the bed where he heard the spiritual dream. Muzibai naturally made a very clever move and stepped aside. That's speechless, I'm still brushing my points. Looking at my own points again, I already have 1158 points. It's delicious. After careful calculation, if you don't eat or drink for a day and brush your points, you will have 57,000 points. If you don't eat or drink for a day, you will have 57,000 points, including the time you may not be around. It takes about a month to purchase divine level bone marrow cleansing pills, and the only problem is that the store will refresh. I don't know when the next divine level bone marrow cleansing pill will be refreshed. Forget it, save enough points first, maybe you can encounter something better than the divine level marrow washing pill. At this moment, Wen Ren Lanzhang was pulling Wen Ren Ling Meng and shouting incessantly. It was a heart-wrenching cry, almost like a runny nose and tears. Unexpectedly, the usually serious and proud Wen Ren Lanzhang actually had a daughter controlling him behind his back. The noblewoman on one side tugged at Wen Ren Lanzhang, who was not the mother of Wen Ren Ling Meng. Wen Ren Ling Meng's mother was a legitimate wife, but had fallen ill and passed away in her early years. This is second lady, Mu Shui. Seeing the appearance of Wen Ren Lanzhang, she couldn't bear to see it anymore. However, Wen Ren Lanzhang didn't even glance at her. Master, Dr. Feng is here. The little goose led an old man into the door, who was a famous doctor in the capital. His medical skills were not inferior to those of imperial doctors. Feng Xiuxian looked tired and drowsy, obviously pulled up from the bed by the little goose. Feng Xiuxian's family was not far away from Wen Renfu, and he was immediately called over. Although Feng Xiuxian was old and had the energy to wake up, Wen Renfu's family had great business and was still a relative of the imperial family, so he dared not say much. Dr. Feng, could you please show me what's going on? Uncle Gua, don't worry, let me first give Miss Lingmeng a pulse. Feng Xiuxian's face was a bit embarrassed. Wen Ren Lanzhang had been sitting by the bed, holding Wen Ren Lingmeng's hand. He also couldn't feel the pulse for Wen Ren Lingmeng, which was very difficult. Upon hearing this, Lanzhang stood awkwardly on the side, right in front of Muzibai. Feng Xiuxian then stepped forward, feeling the pulse of his spiritual dream. His expression was strange. Perhaps, I also noticed that I was bouncing around when I heard the pulse of my spiritual dream. 30 seconds have passed, and it has been 30 seconds since when Ren Lanzhang stood in front of him. When the time was up, Muzibai couldn't help but extend his hand, wanting to touch Wen Ren Lanzhang. This is a typical sequelae of the steel of the heart. I'm really worried that when I dream at night, the sound of clanging in my ears will be heard. Step forward and bow. Dang. First touch, points plus 15,000, Muzibai. I wipe it, do you smell the orchid like this? The first time was 15,000 points, which is 1.5 times that of Wen Ren Lingmeng, indicating the high status of Wen Ren Lanzhang. Although he did not hold any official position, his status and identity were placed there. Don't worry, my father. In law. Lingmeng Jiren has his own destiny. Perhaps it was because Lingmeng was moved by his father. In law's cry that he showed signs of recovery. Upon hearing this, Lanzhang glanced at Muzibai. Although he knew that Muzibai was indirectly praising and pleasing others, his words sounded comfortable. Oh, you mean Linger can hear me speak? Hearing someone, Lanzhang restrained his expression. Muzibai just smiled and didn't say anything more. He managed to score points and was satisfied. There was no need to talk anymore. If he said the wrong thing, it wouldn't be good. Although this marriage has caused dissatisfaction among the well-known Lanzhang, it is also dissatisfaction with the Mu family. Muzibai is just a sacrifice. Upon hearing this, Lanzhang wouldn't blame Muzibai for it. So far, he has taken Muzibai's eyes too seriously. Not very promising, looks quite elegant, is a scholar, should be an honest person, staying to take care of Linger is quite suitable. As for the claim of Chongxi, it is baseless that Lanzhang never believed it when he heard of it. The ancestors of the Mu family were founding heroes, and most importantly, they knew how to advance and retreat. They were one of the few founding heroes who had a good ending. Later on, the Mu family also had a wealth of talents, so they held a prominent position in Dao. Dr. Feng, how is the little girl's health? But there are signs of awakening. Wenren Lanzhang asked with concern. Feng Zhongquan withdrew his hand and touched his beard, looking somewhat puzzled. He asked, the pulse is indeed a bit strange, it's getting faster than before, but now it's calming down, just like before. How is the little girl's condition? This is also the first time I have encountered such a situation. So far, my condition is still the same as before, with no signs of awakening. Feng Zhongquan shook his head and then asked, when did my pulse start to be abnormal? Everyone glanced at each other and finally focused their attention on the little goose. The little goose said, I'm not sure either. At the beginning, my uncle felt an abnormal pulse for the young lady. Upon hearing Lan Zhang's curious gaze at Muzibai, he asked, do you still understand medical skills? I understand a little bit, not very well. At this moment, Mu Shui anxiously asked, Dr. Feng, what's going on with that little girl? Please explain it clearly to Dr. Feng. After speaking for a while, I didn't hear a precise sentence, and I still don't know what the situation is like when I hear someone's spiritual dream. Seeing Wenren Lingmeng lying in bed makes me feel heartbroken. Whenever I think of Wenren Lingmeng suffering in bed, I can't help but shed tears. After all this time, there has been some movement, but Feng Zhongquan said a lot in a confused manner. He didn't give a definite answer when he heard about people's spiritual dreams. Feng Zhongquan pondered for a while, his eyebrows furrowed. He had never encountered this situation before. What should he say? I dare not speak nonsense. If I make a mistake and the imperial physician comes again, my job may not be guaranteed. After careful consideration, I suddenly look at Muzibai on the side and have a plan in mind. Feng Zhongquan touched his beard and smiled, perhaps it's because of my uncle. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Shennong Pharmacopoeia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Shennong Pharmacopoeia Muzibai. After noticing the strange eyes of everyone, Muzibai was unable to roast. He had half a dime to do with me. I just gave a pulse to the people who heard the dream. I just want to touch it, I definitely have no bad intentions. Feng Zhongquan slowly said, perhaps it's because of the excitement, my uncle may match the 8 characters of Mississippi. This combination has made Miss react. As for the rest, I can't say for sure. Now it seems that Miss Lingmeng is no longer in big trouble, so I will leave first. Feng Zhongquan just wants to run away quickly, this is not a place to stay for a long time. Chongxi. Dr. Feng, wait a moment. Upon hearing Lan Zhang call Feng Zhongquan, he gestured for him to come over and chat. Can you give me a precise sentence? Does the little girl have any hope of waking up? Feng Zhongquan looked puzzled, but he didn't dare to guarantee it. He could only vaguely say, I can't say for sure. Miss Lingmeng has her own auspicious appearance. Although the matter of happiness is mysterious, there is a certain number in the dark. Perhaps my uncle is really a lucky star. Upon hearing this, Lan Zhang chuckled and said, Dr. Feng not only has superb medical skills, but also top-notch fortune-telling. Knowing that Feng Zhongquan wanted to be careless and pushed everything away. Feng Zhongquan awkwardly smiled, then arched his hand, rubbed his feet with oil, and quickly left. I saw an 80-year-old man walking briskly. Watching Feng Zhongquan leave, Mu Shui felt lost upon hearing Lan Zhang's expression. Upon entering, Mu Shui was taking care of Wenren Lingmeng wiping her face. Giving Muzibai a glance, Muzibai understood and walked out the door. I don't know why my father.in.law is calling my son.in.law. Muzibai lowered his head slightly and asked respectfully. Xiao Bai, don't you mind me calling you that? Although you have entered our Wenren Fu, you don't need to change your name. Just call me father, my father. Law sounds awkward. Yes, father. When Renlanzhang nodded with satisfaction, his eyes sorrowful, and said, since you call me father, you will be a member of my Wenren mansion from now on. You have also seen the appearance of Ling Meng. To be honest, I don't know how long Ling Meng will wake up. So, during this period, can you work hard to take care of Ling Meng, or maybe forever? I won't make things difficult for you. Have you figured it out? Muzibai arched his hand and said, as a couple, we should do our best. If we are not willing to grow old together with Ling Meng, how dare we step into the gate of the Wenren mansion? Okay, I hope you remember what you said. Lan Zhang sighed and continued, I won't say much. If you need anything or have something, feel free to come to me. The two of them leisurely walked into the room, and upon hearing Lan Zhang, they talked to Little Goose again. They didn't know what they were talking about, but Muzibai probably guessed. Mu Shui's gaze towards Muzibai was full of kindness, possibly due to Feng Zhongchuan's words earlier. Xiao Bai, I'll trouble you to take care of Ling Meng in the future. Mu Shui then explained a lot of precautions to Muzibai in great detail, afraid of missing any place. Muzibai, on the other hand, has nothing to love and only wants to score points, but he has no chance and can only listen honestly. Silently praying in my heart, these two couples should leave early, don't delay me from scoring. Soon, Lan Zhang and the Little Goose came in. It's getting late, Xiao Bai. You stay here with Ling Meng, let's go back first. After speaking, when Renlanzhang left with Mu Shui. In Renlanzhang's heart, he did not believe in the idea of Chongxi, but if he couldn't say for sure, he held a glimmer of luck in his heart. Simply let Muzibai stay here to take care of Ling Meng and accompany her more. It is estimated that Muzibai's heart is not feeling well. Who married a plant and can feel good in their hearts? And he didn't even have the right to divorce, so he was abandoned by his family. Just thinking about it, I feel that Muzibai is quite pitiful. At this moment in the room, seeing the two elders leave, Muzibai breathed a sigh of relief and finally left. At this moment, a strange smell suddenly caught my breath. Muzibai pinched his chin, frowned, and suddenly realized. Cough. The Little Goose coughed awkwardly and said, please avoid me first. Muzibai also coughed awkwardly, quickly retreated, and then turned his back to avoid. Perhaps, for those who hear spiritual dreams, the most devastating moment is at this moment, undoubtedly, it is a great destruction of self-esteem. For people like those who hear spiritual dreams, if they knew, they would probably choose to end their lives on their own. With such a noble identity and dignity greater than life. It's also possible that when Renlingmeng doesn't know at all. For when Renlingmeng, it feels much better in her heart, and I hope she doesn't know. At this moment, hearing Lingmeng from others is undoubtedly deeply tormented. She really wants to bump herself to death, but she can't control her body. Why is it at this moment I want to cry? I want to find someone to cry and confide in, but I can't say a word, I can't cry, and I can't find anyone to confide in. I can only hold it in my heart. On such days, it's better to settle the accounts on your own. Seeing the little goose wiping itself clean to smell the spiritual dream, she nodded to herself and was able to move forward. Grasping the hand that smelled Lingmeng, he gently said, "Lingmeng, it's me. I just spoke in your ear. Your husband, Muzibai, don't worry, I will be with you." Although it is unclear whether when Ren Lingmeng can hear it, Muzibai always subconsciously believes that when Ren Lingmeng can hear it. In most cases, vegetative individuals are not completely unconscious, but have blurred consciousness. Moreover, many cases of vegetative individuals waking up are mostly stimulated by the external environment. Pulling and hearing Lingmeng say a lot of things, rambling and talking endlessly. The points are steadily increasing, and now, the points are almost breaking through 30,000. It's already late at night, and the store is about to refresh. Divine-level marrow washing pill, such as Tai Xian Ji Bao, is beyond our expectations. It requires millions of points or more. Even if Muzibai relies on hearing people's spiritual dreams and doesn't let go, it will take nearly 20 days. There is still a long way to go. However, what can be bought at the moment is to buy some first, make a slight change, gradually grow bigger and stronger. Looking at the 5 items in the store, currently available items include the Shennong Pharmacopoeia and the female anchor's pink companion. Of course, I chose the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, but the other one didn't even glance at it and decisively ignored it. Integral .10, points .100000, cough. Muzibai opened the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, which is not just an ordinary medical book. In a certain sense, it is equivalent to a martial arts book that not only saves diseases and treats people, but also allows practitioners to understand exquisite medical books. However, the focus is on saving people, so it is an auxiliary type of book, and the focus is on studying medical skills, so the cultivation effect is not significant. For Muzibai, it is already a good and practical thing nowadays. Isn't there a patient right in front of me? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The most important points for scoring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The most important points for scoring in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia. There are records of difficult and complicated diseases in the world. As long as the medical skills are advanced and supplemented by the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, there is no disease that cannot be cured. The only problem is that Muzibai doesn't know how to teach medicine yet, so it's still a hassle to start from scratch. But it doesn't matter, what Muzibai doesn't lack the most is time. What are the rules of the cultivation world? It's not about fighting hard, it's just one word, go. With this system, of course, it is to implement the word go to the end. Anyway, I don't have many enemies coming to my door, and there's nothing I can do to find myself. Squatting by the side of someone who has heard their spiritual dreams, surviving until the end of time, earning tens of millions of points, changing one's fate against the heavens, and then leaving the mountain when the world is invincible. At that time, the cultivation of the Shennong Pharmacopoeia should have been around, and it was a thank that you gesture to successfully cure the spiritual dreams of the smelling people. Plan everything well, just do it this way. Uncle, it's getting late too. It's almost time to rest, the little goose approached and whispered. Glancing at the sky, it was already late at night. Counting the time, it should be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was silence. It's time to go to bed, but I'm not sleeping here. Muzibai asked in confusion. The little goose just smiled and didn't speak, with a resolute attitude. Anyway, it would definitely not let Muzibai sleep here. Muzibai thought to himself that in the eyes of the people in Wenren Mansion, he was just a shield pushed out by the Mu family, a tool of joy in the eyes of the people in Wenren Mansion. In addition, with Wenren Lingmeng like this, how could Muzibai and Wenren Lingmeng live together in the same bed? The little goose saw that Muzibai had no intention of leaving and continued, Uncle, why don't you rest earlier? It's not too late to wake up early tomorrow and accompany Miss again. Previously, let Muzibai hold on to the hand of Wenren Lingmeng. Seeing that Muzibai had not done any other actions, he did not mind, but he insisted on sleeping together. No need, today is my first night married to Lingmeng, and I'm here to take care of Lingmeng. On this night, there were at least tens of thousands or even tens of thousands of points, and of course, Muzibai would not miss any opportunity to brush points. Does this uncle not need to rest? The little goose felt a bit uncomfortable. Don't worry, I'll just lie on the side and not go to bed, okay? That little goose will accompany my uncle to take care of the young lady. The little goose smiled and thought to herself, Muzibai, like this, maybe showing off to the master and lady. Even if she doesn't sleep, she still needs to accompany the young lady. How could it be? At the beginning, it was determined that Muzibai was just starting to care about the young lady. After waiting for a long time, it was not that she despised the young lady as a vegetative person. The little goose wanted to see how long Muzibai could hold on. It was estimated that in no time, Muzibai would know how difficult it was and retreat. However, what Little Goose didn't expect was that, let alone guarding the night, even if Muzibai was soldered here, Muzibai would be very willing, even willing to do it himself. The store has now refreshed with 5 brand new products. Product 1. Qi Nourishing Pill, selling price. 1000 points, can be refreshed repeatedly. Product 2. Refreshing Coffee, selling price. 100 points, current inventory. 10, can be refreshed repeatedly. Product 3. A complete set of Dream of Red Mansions, priced at 300 points. Product 4. Xuanjia Pill, priced at 10,000 points. Product 5. Wudao Zhengu, selling price. 100,000 points. It can be refreshed repeatedly and will not disappear after purchase, unlike other products that only appear once. As for the refreshing coffee, the current inventory is 10, which means that it can be purchased 10 times a day and can be refreshed later. I bought 2 things before, but now I still have 31,800 points left. After thinking about it, I decided to buy all the items that I can buy. These few items are still useful. Yangqi Pill can nourish qi and blood after consumption. Many people need to take Yangqi Pill before practicing. Even after achieving cultivation, they still need to take Yangqi Pill for maintenance, which can strengthen the roots and bones. Refreshing Coffee, after drinking it, there is no problem staying up for 2 or 3 days without sleeping. The effect is excellent, suitable for people who stay up late, and there will be no side effects. Xuanjia Dan can help users break through the realm of Xuanjia. There are 4 levels of cultivation. Xuanjia, Huwu, Longhuang, and Fengni. Each level has a unique meaning. The Xuanjia realm, as the first realm of cultivating immortals, focuses on refining the body. It is extremely difficult to step out of this step, and many people are rejected by this first realm. Even a person with excellent talent may fail 2 or 3 times before entering the Xuanjia realm. The Yang Qi Pill can help Muzibai lay a solid foundation before entering the Xianjia realm. Once the foundation is strong enough, he can take the Xianjia Pill and break through in one fell swoop. Muzibai yawned and felt a bit drowsy. The little goose saw that Muzibai couldn't hold on anymore and showed a hint of success. It happened that she was also tired and staying up late hurt her body. Besides, she was only 28 years old and needed maintenance. Just as I was about to speak up and persuade Muzibai, I saw that Muzibai suddenly regained his energy and his face was radiant. Little goose, if you're tired, go back to sleep first. I'm not tired, I'll stay here with my uncle to guard the young lady. The little goose perked up and thought to herself, how could it be possible to let Muzibai stay here alone? I want to see how long Muzibai can endure. A person who cultivates himself in the hall can't endure him as a scholar. Muzibai pursed his lips, my goodness, how worried I am about this. Curious about the little goose, he asked, I heard you are a cultivator. What realm? Isn't it that uncle wants to cultivate? It's very hard to cultivate, so let's forget about uncle's small physique, said the little goose with a smile. Muzibai. Glancing at the little goose, the goose has a delicate figure and looks like it's easy to push over. Do you still look down on my physique? Noticing Muzibai's gaze, the little goose immediately recognized Muzibai's thoughts and said with a smile, Uncle, it's not that I'm bragging. I can beat 10 people like Uncle. So powerful. Muzibai frowned, expressing doubt, but also believing that little goose, as a close servant of the spirit dream, must have some strength. Of course, I'm a master, the little goose raised its fist. Muzibai didn't ask any more questions, just nodded. The little goose brought a small stool from the side and placed it behind Muzibai. Muzibai pulled the small stool forward and sat down. Uncle really has a deep affection for Mississippi. If Miss knows, she will definitely be moved by Uncle, said Little Goose with a smile. Although this literal meaning may seem like a good word, I always feel that the tone is a bit strange. Muzibai ignored it and quietly scored. Nothing is as important as scoring. The little goose just watched quietly on the side, watching Muzibai, who was about to hold on to the hand of the ghost who had heard people's dreams even in death. Although there were many doubts in his heart, he only opened his mouth and did not ask again. She is just a close maid who hears people's spiritual dreams. After all, she is a maid. Muzibai is a dignified uncle, and she has no reason to let Muzibai leave. Accustomed to the intrigues in the mansion, she didn't believe that Muzibai had such a deep affection for Wenren Lingmang at first glance. However, if Muzibai really devoted herself to taking care of Wenren Lingmang, it would seem like a good thing. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the night passed and dawn broke. Sorry for the slow pace ahead. I don't have much experience in writing books, and I'm used to a slower pace. I can't grasp the pace too fast. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Taking care of your wife, can you be careful? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Taking care of your wife, can you be careful? The little goose couldn't believe it. Muzibai stayed up all night, but the key was that Muzibai was still very energetic and didn't fall asleep at all. Is this really an ordinary person? Muzibai took a deep breath and spent the whole night accumulating a terrifying 387,600 points. Asking the little goose, "Are you going to serve tea now?" "No need, the master told me last night that he will enter the palace early this morning." "That's it." Muzibai nodded slightly. "It's also good to not delay brushing points, and there's no need to go back tomorrow." Muzibai breathed a sigh of relief, feeling like he might be welding himself to death on this small stool. That night, even after smelling the human spirit dream, I didn't fall asleep. For the human spirit dream, I couldn't distinguish between day and night, lying on this bed every day. Apart from sleeping, feeling the foreign touch, listening to the news brought by the little goose, or comforting the mother, if the father is going to die or live, there is nothing else to do. Most of the time, it's just a person who hears a spiritual dream, in a quiet environment with no sound in their ears, making them feel very lonely and longing for someone to speak in their ear. But who would be willing to keep talking to a vegetative person without any worries? So, the most essential aspect of hearing a person's spiritual dream is sleep, whether it's sleep or not, until it's hard to distinguish between day and night. It was only when the voice of the little goose came to my ears that I realized it was time to go to bed. It was only when the little goose wiped its face and fed food that I realized it was daytime. At this moment, a maid came in, holding a food box in her hand. "Uncle, it's breakfast now." "Isn't Uncle still holding on to Mrs. hand to eat breakfast?" Muzibai was embarrassed to let go, then he held a bowl of congee and said, "Why don't I come?" The little goose nodded. Muzibai carefully fed Wenren Lingmang some white porridge. Goose touched Wenren Lingmang's neck, only to see Wenren Lingmang's throat stirring, and congee was drunk. "What means is this?" Muzibai asked curiously. He has also seen similar techniques, but they cannot completely make the patient drink them, and most of them will get stuck in the throat. But Goose's trick made congee completely enter the stomach of people's spiritual dreams. "It's simple, isn't Uncle interested in cultivation?" "I understand." Muzibai realized that he was using cultivation techniques and thought that little goose was just a simple technique. After feeding Lingmang a bowl of porridge, Muzibai also drank a bowl of porridge to fill his stomach. Although there was refreshing coffee, he didn't need to sleep, but he didn't say he didn't need to eat. "I didn't expect my uncle to be a careful person," said the little goose with a smile. When he just fed congee, Muzibai was very cautious and careful, more careful than those servant girls, which surprised little goose. "Take care of your own wife, can you not be careful?" Muzibai picked up a handkerchief on one side and wiped his mouth as he listened to Lingmang. The little goose approached and took the handkerchief from Muzibai's hand, saying, "I need to clean the lady now." "Please, uncle." Muzibai nodded slightly, then went out and avoided. I breathed a sigh of relief when I heard that Muzibai had gone out. Fortunately, Muzibai was sensible, otherwise it would have been so awkward. I was also a little moved by Muzibai. This guy really stayed by himself all night, and he was always on the side, holding his hand. From time to time, I accompanied myself to say a word or two, feeling the kindness of Muzibai. Upon hearing Lingmeng, my heart felt unprecedentedly relaxed and a hint of joy. It can be considered that someone is talking now, it's no longer a long night of boredom and daydreaming. Muzibai sat down on a stone stool in the courtyard outside the door, flipping through the Shennong Pharmacopoeia in his mind. Never waste any time and become a qualified time management master. Muzibai did not focus on knowledge of plants and trees, but rather on difficult and miscellaneous diseases, such as treating amnesia. The Shennong Pharmacopoeia records various treatment methods for amnesia, but to find the root cause, it still depends on the patient's own psychological quality, which is difficult to do. Let's put aside the matter of treating illnesses caused by hearing people's spiritual dreams. Firstly, the medical skills are not enough, and secondly, the points have not been fully accumulated yet. Don't worry now, accumulating experience is the most important thing. After reading through the cases of amnesia recorded in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, I silently closed it and guided my own qi to circulate through various meridians according to the method of operating qi in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia. In less than a week, the operation is extremely difficult, and in many places, qi cannot flow and is blocked. It is not overnight to break through. Take out the yang qi dan, which can strengthen the qi in the body and make qi more pure. To break through and become the Xuanjia realm, one needs to at least have all the meridians connected throughout the body, and transform the technique from afar. Qi can travel throughout the body for a whole cycle, and the yang qi dan is undoubtedly the best aid. However, most people do not have yang qi pills. The price of yang qi pills is relatively low, and the market price requires at least 100 taels of silver per pill. Ordinary people cannot afford to consume them. If one has to rely on their own practice of qi to connect the meridians, it is an extremely long process. Most people are naturally weak in qi, let alone connecting the meridians is like a rebirth, which is not easy to talk about. Looking at the nourishing pill in my hand, it's something that wealthy people don't want to eat, and even ordinary people may not be able to afford it even if they run out of money. After taking the qi nourishing pill, the pill melts upon ingestion, and a ball of qi blends into Muzibai's body, quickly merging with the qi that Muzibai originally had. The qi in the body is like a new metabolism, refreshed, purer and stronger than before. Operate the meridian diagram in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia here and strike the blockage in the meridians. The effect of the qi nourishing pill is remarkable. If Muzibai relied on himself to cultivate an impact, it would take at least 1 or 2 years to fully penetrate. When a nourishing qi pill goes down, the blocked meridians in the body will burst through 2/3. It is estimated that with 2 more nourishing qi pills, the meridians in the body will be fully connected, and then the cultivation will be unobstructed. Muzibai took a deep breath, exhaled a murky breath, opened his eyes, and the restless energy in his body calmed down. The qi cultivated in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia leans towards the wood type and is very gentle. If practiced well, one can become a physician or alchemist. The wood-type qi is gentle and can have an innate affinity for the path of grass and wood, treating illnesses and saving people, with excellent effects. After a while, the little goose went out and saw Muzibai staying at the door. She asked, "Does uncle need to take a shower?" "No need, have you guys finished it yet?" "Alright, what's wrong?" "Uncle can't wait to accompany Mississippi," the little goose asked with a smile. Muzibai did not reply, but walked directly into the room and saw that Lingmeng had changed into a new outfit and was lying quietly in bed. The little goose followed behind Muzibai and said, "Uncle, are you going to accompany Miss again?" "Uncle doesn't go to see his own room, or is it because he doesn't have his own business?" "I heard that uncle is a scholar, so he doesn't read books." The imperial examination will be held next year. The little goose wondered in its heart, what exactly does this uncle want? Judging from his appearance, he plans to stay here all day. Does uncle have nothing to do on his own? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Traditional crafts, not to be passed on to the public. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Traditional crafts, not to be passed on to the public. Muzibai sighed and said sincerely, the depth of love. Little goose. With a silent expression on his face, the little goose looked as if he believed in ghosts and didn't even believe you. Muzibai looked like this, knowing that Muzibai was joking. Seeing Muzibai once again holding the hand of Wenran Lingmeng, he fell into silence and expressed that he couldn't understand Muzibai. I didn't think that Muzibai had a normal behavior, which was not in line with common sense. This person is also strange and always does things that little geese can't understand. Since I fell into a coma upon hearing someone's spiritual dream, with the passage of time, there have been fewer and fewer people in the yard. Except for a few maids who clean and take care of the living room, few people have come, except for the master and lady. Those who used to be close to Wenran Lingmeng have basically never come, and even the maids don't really want to take care of Wenran Lingmeng. Behind the scenes, they don't know what they're talking about, and the little goose just turns a blind eye and doesn't say anything. After all, if we think from a different perspective, the little goose probably will be just like them. But Muzibai kept drilling deeper, and others avoided him. However, he couldn't wait, as if he wished he could move a bed and sleep inside, even if he could catch a glimpse of the young lady. If we were to talk about how deeply Muzibai was in love, this would probably be their first day seeing them, so it wouldn't be so deep. Compared to this, the likelihood of making a show is higher, but that's too much. In the eyes of Muzibai, what the little goose sees is sincerity. For a while, the little goose cannot see through Muzibai, so it doesn't want to do so much. As the saying goes, time sees the heart. After waiting for a while, I naturally understand what kind of person Muzibai is. But inside the little goose's heart, there was a slight sense of identification with Muzibai. Uncle plans to spend the whole day with Miss today, asked the little goose. Can't it be? Muzibai looked up and asked. Sure, of course, how about I go get 2 books for my uncle to relieve stress? The little goose smiled and said, Miss loves reading books the most. She is one of the most talented women in the capital. Oh. Muzibai naturally knew, but listening to the tone of little goose, it seemed to be deliberately emphasizing, not knowing what the meaning was, and said, no need. Okay, the little goose continued, Uncle will need to roll over with me for Miss later. What are you doing? Muzibai asked in confusion. Massage the young lady, as the imperial physician said, lying down for too long is not good for the body. Now that the young lady is weak, it is necessary to exercise her muscles and bones for a period of time, which is beneficial for the young lady. I see. Muzibai nodded slightly. There is indeed a saying that exercising muscles and bones more is beneficial for physical health and smooth blood flow. Otherwise, if you really want to lie down for a few years, not everyone will have to lie down as a vegetative person. Muzibai and the little goose turned over together for the dream of hearing people's spirits. What do I need to do? Asked Muzibai, who had never served anyone before. At most, before crossing the border, he had beaten his father's feet. His skin was rough and his flesh was thick, and Muzibai's actions were like hitting an enemy. But hearing the frail and delicate appearance of Lingmeng, how could Muzibai take care of it? I'll do it, there's no need to trouble uncle, the little goose said with a smile, and then he pressed his back and legs to move his muscles and bones. Completely pushed Muzibai aside. How long do you want to press? Muzibai asked in silence. This delay is all a fraction. Maybe a few hours, the little goose replied as it pressed. Muzibai took a deep breath and flipped through the Shennong Pharmacopoeia in his mind. He remembered reading it before, which recorded a set of massage techniques. They are all traditional crafts. For an hour or so, how many points will this delay? Unless necessary, Muzibai absolutely doesn't want to waste any opportunity to brush points. I know a set of massage techniques that can help Raima move muscles and bones, as well as promote blood circulation, said Muzibai. Oh. The little goose looked curiously at Muzibai, with a skeptical expression in its eyes, obviously not believing. Muzibai didn't explain to the little goose, but got started directly. Showcasing was the best proof, more useful than Muzibai's BB for half a day. Don't worry, just press your back, Muzibai said when she saw the little goose feeling uneasy. Muzibai held on to the back of the person who had heard Lingmeng, quite organized, but slightly unfamiliar. Obviously, his proficiency was not high enough and he was very clumsy, but he made the little goose nod slightly. Not bad, it looks stylish. Although the little goose doesn't quite understand, all the acupoints pressed by Muzibai on the back are within the rules and have been recognized by the little goose. The only problem is that Muzibai is too clumsy. Why not let Muzibai hand over this massage technique to herself? At this moment, upon hearing someone's spiritual dream, my heart was filled with panic and speechlessness. There was only one thought, which was to break through the little goose's little head. What did this girl think? Just watch it like this and ignore it. I am your young lady, is this how a man can push and push on his back? What kind of tradition is it? Muzibai, damn it. The little goose is even more damn. She was extremely shy in her heart. As a daughter, she had relatively little contact with men. Moreover, as a princess, besides her parents and siblings, she could count the number of times she had contact with other men with just one hand. Let him recklessly press his back for himself. At this moment, when he heard the ghost dream, he just wanted to find an underground hole to burrow in. Unfortunately, unable to find it, silently enduring it, feeling lost and panicked in my heart. This is simply. It's a bit comfortable. This surprised me when I heard my spiritual dream. At first, I felt a bit uncomfortable, but after pressing it for a while, I actually felt a bit comfortable. For a moment it was so enjoyable to hear people's spiritual dreams that they could press it so comfortably, even better than the little goose, with a tingling sensation coming from behind. At this moment, my whole body and mind relaxed, as if I was about to fall apart. Now, when I heard someone's spiritual dream, I just wanted to lie down like this and fell silent. Originally, I wanted to resist hearing about Lingmeng, but unfortunately, Muzibai pressed it too comfortably. I just want to say to Muzibai, I'm sorry, my rebuttal may have been a bit loud just now. Muzibai's technique became increasingly proficient, and he quickly mastered this massage technique, skillfully performing it on the back of the person who heard the spiritual dream. Who did you learn this massage technique from? Have you studied medicine before? The little goose asked in confusion. This is a traditional craft, it's not to be passed down, Muzibai said with a smile. Don't ask, it's just a traditional craft. What do you, as a woman, know about traditional crafts? No, it seems you can also understand it. Little goose. I originally wanted Muzibai to teach her, but if it's not leaked, then let it go. She naturally knew that some things were indeed not passed down to the public, they were all crafts left by her ancestors, only passed down to her own family, or passed down to men but not to women, and so on. There were many rules and regulations to follow. Is it almost there? Muzi's hands were almost numb, and there was also an hour left. The two of them straightened their bodies and restored themselves to their original state after smelling the spiritual dream. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. If you don't explode in silence, you will disappear in silence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. If you don't explode in silence, you will disappear in silence. The little goose saw Muzibai holding onto the hand that smelled Lingmeng, and couldn't help but rub the center of its eyebrows. Its eyebrows were tense, and it looked at Muzibai with strange eyes. Muzibai said that he didn't want to either. This was also a helpless move. Otherwise, let Muzibai touch the human spirit dream every 30 seconds. That looks even more eerie, okay. Why did it stop? Upon hearing someone's spiritual dream, I felt my body returning to its original state. I was genuinely unwilling and hadn't enjoyed it enough yet, so I stopped. Unwilling, silently looking forward to the next massage. Dang. Integral plus 21 Muzibai. Surprisingly, the points increased a bit, and Muzibai pinched his chin. After thinking for a while, he quickly figured it out. This system is similar to heart steel, possibly because Muzibai has been touching people's spiritual dreams for too long, resulting in an increase in points earned. But whether the increase in this integral is due to the number of touches, time, or other factors, Muzibai has not yet figured it out. This system still needs to be developed. Muzibai kept flipping through the Shennong Pharmacopoeia in his mind. The knowledge of herbs contained in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia was rich, and there was still a lot to learn, which could not be understood overnight. Fortunately, there is a directory, and Muzibai can always find what he wants. Otherwise, if he wants to find a medicine, he will have to search for it for several days and nights. The little goose closed its eyes on one side, which should be a way of cultivation for her. Quickly, time arrived at noon, and little goose went out to let the maid cook. This huge Wenren mansion is different, as each person eats their own food and the maid needs to go to the kitchen to pick it up. After a while, the goose came back, opened the food box and saw congee again. Yes, she can only drink congee when she hears about Ling Meng. She can't eat anything else. Goose's method is only effective for congee. But the problem came. Muzibai looked at the porridge in his hand. Why should I eat porridge? Goose said apologetically, Uncle, I'm really sorry for being late. I forgot to tell the kitchen that I only made porridge for us. You usually only eat porridge? Muzi asked in silence. It's not a problem if I don't eat for a few days, said the little goose with a smile. Muzi gave her a white look. You are all right, but I have a big problem. This porridge is insipid and tasteless, and it has been eaten for a long time, and its nutrition is not up to scratch. I never thought about making pumpkin congee, or mung bean congee. Why is it white porridge? Muzi asked. Not only does it taste bad, but also it has no nutrition. How can patients eat porridge all the time? Especially for vegetative individuals, they need to keep up with nutrition, otherwise their bodies will be very weak. Miss, as she is, she can only drink congee, but she doesn't think so much about it. The goose responded after Muzibai said so. Yes, Miss has been eating porridge since she was unconscious. The imperial physician just said, Miss, you can't eat anything indiscriminately like this. So I prepared porridge. In addition, I heard that people in Lingmeng are also vegetative. I didn't think so much. I forgot for a while. How can I just eat porridge? Suddenly, his mind turned and the little goose was filled with regret, blaming himself for not taking good care of the young lady. As soon as Muzibai saw the little goose like this, he knew that the onlookers were clear and the onlookers were confused. If he cared, it would be chaotic. Moreover, how could he think so much about a vegetative person? After eating porridge for so long, it's really a miracle to hear that Ling Meng can live, and his pulse condition is so normal, which makes Muzibai confused. According to normal principles, after eating porridge for such a long time, the body should be very weak when hearing people's spiritual dreams. Is it because the consumption of vegetable people is relatively small? Perhaps this is the reason. Ling Meng is now in such a situation that it is time to supplement nutrition. Without physical strength, how can he recover? Tonight, change it to pumpkin congee, and add another dish for me. Yes, my uncle, I will have to drink porridge at noon today. Goose said apologetically, and his preference for Muzibai has improved a lot. A simple action shows that Muzibai cares about Mississippi. No matter what kind of person Muzibai is, caring about Miss is enough. Finally, I can change my taste. Upon hearing the conversation outside, Ling Meng was overjoyed and relieved, almost unable to shed tears. It's been 6 months now, do you know how I came through this half-year? Every day, it's either porridge or porridge, and I can hardly know what the salty taste is when I drink it. For those who are used to eating delicious food, it is undoubtedly a form of devastation. She has shouted in her heart countless times, can't it be anything else? Even adding 2 slices of cucumber would be great. Not to make it so light. Unfortunately, no one could hear her inner cry, and no one raised this question. Today, someone finally raised it, and she was immediately grateful. By staying through this afternoon, you can enjoy delicious food, and even the thought of it will leave you drooling. Having eaten all kinds of delicacies and never lacking in food, she was filled with a thirst for food for the first time. At this moment, a sound of opening the door was heard. The little goose just returned the dishes to the kitchen and said, "Just ask the kitchen, it seems that there is no food to cook congee, and the food delivery will come tomorrow." "It should not matter all day, right?" said the goose. When Ling Meng said, "Ah. No. Very important. We're going to die. No need for any ingredients, just add 2 seasonings." Upon hearing the heart-wrenching cries of Ling Meng, they couldn't hear them and could only praise silently. They hated the chef in their hearts and just fooled him a bit. They didn't care how much they heard Ling Meng, they just wanted to eat something different. The head chef in the mansion is naturally highly skilled, and if you want to do it well, you must do it well. You won't be fooled casually, nor dare you. Muzibai thought for a while and smiled, saying, "It's okay, just add 2 side dishes to me. Don't worry, I tried your cooking skills at the banquet yesterday, so let's talk about it." Upon hearing someone's spiritual dream. If it doesn't explode in silence, it will disappear in silence. Muzibai thought to himself that he had drunk all the congee he had heard about Ling Meng for so long, and it was not too bad for the night. Besides, he didn't mind hearing Ling Meng like this, did he? The little goose didn't take it seriously and smiled, saying, "Of course, there are still many uncles who haven't tasted it yet. We have a lot of expertise in cooking." "Oh. What do you recommend? What else can I try?" Muzibai asked curiously. At the mansion, some dishes are not something that can be eaten casually. They have to be served to distinguished guests, or when the host wants to taste them, the chef will take them out. The little goose thought for a moment and said, "Besides what we saw at the banquet yesterday, why don't we let my uncle taste steamed crab roe and lion's head tonight, as well as vinegar fish? These 2 dishes are also popular among young ladies." Muzibai was looking forward to tonight. He had 2 meals of porridge, which was too weak. He nodded. "Okay, what other dishes are there?" End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Listening to people's spiritual dreams, maybe not being sick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Listening to people's spiritual dreams, maybe not being sick. It seems that my uncle is still a greedy person. When I think about it, there are too many of them. Let's listen to me. Okay, I know now. Don't say anything. The most devastating thing is undoubtedly hearing Ling Meng. I knew I had to drink porridge at night, which is enough to collapse. The 2 people are still whispering dish names in the ears of Ling Meng, reminding people of Ling Meng. Suffering from torment, physically and mentally exhausted. At this moment, I heard that Ling Meng wanted to seek death again, so I decided to kill him with a sword. The sound of my stomach growling sounded in my ear. I have no favorable impression of the 2 main culprits, Muzibai and Little Goose. After a while, these 2 people have finally finished chatting. I breathed a sigh of relief when I heard someone's spiritual dream. When I wake up, I must eat hard. Lock Muzibai and the little goose in a small black room and starve for 10 or 8 days. Then they let it out and only gave them porridge to eat. The more you think about it, the more determined your thoughts become, and you must make them feel remorse for the mistakes they have made. At this moment, Muzibai once again grasped the pulse of Wen Lingmang with his hand, and learned something from the Shennong Pharmacopoeia. Naturally, he wanted to try Wen Lingmang. After about a stick of incense, there was no sensation on the person's spiritual dream. There is something strange in my heart, which is different from what is said in medical practice. This is not easy to handle. If the symptoms of smelling people's spiritual dreams are not recorded in the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, even if Muzibai Xiuxian is successful, he may not be able to cure them. This can be said to be an old Chinese medicine practitioner flipping through books, and it is mostly a terminal illness. After careful consideration for a while, Muzibai suddenly thought of a possibility. Perhaps he had heard that Lingmang was not sick at all. But it's a kind of soul like being out of the body, where her soul is separated from her body and her body is not under her own control, which makes sense. But if that's the case, we need to start by investigating the source of the coma caused by hearing people's spiritual dreams. What's wrong with uncle? The little goose asked curiously when it saw Muzibai's expression puzzled, as if he had some thoughts. It's nothing. Leave these matters to be investigated later. It's better to brush up on points first. Points are the most important. Accumulate enough points early, and set a small goal of 100 million points first. In my mind, I flipped through the Shennong Pharmacopoeia and read the chapters on how to recuperate my body. When I heard that my body was weak, what I needed most was recuperation. If his uncle were to have an effect here, it would be impossible for him to see his body gradually weaken after hearing people's spiritual dreams. He still had to be kicked out. Looking at the vast amount of knowledge, Muzibai frowned and felt a tingling scalp. Traditional Chinese medicine is all about experience. Without 20 or 30 years of learning experience, one dare not call oneself traditional Chinese medicine. So, in traditional Chinese medicine, those who excel are usually elderly men over 50 years old, and they are particularly skilled. Traditional Chinese medicine also tests one's intelligence. With so much medical knowledge and examples, it is important to note that patients who fall ill may not fully follow medical books. This requires considering the practical application of knowledge, as most people lack intelligence and are unable to learn. After flipping through more than a dozen pages, I feel fine. The already practiced Shennong Pharmacopoeia, with an understanding of the techniques, can lead to a much faster realization, but the speed is still too slow. Muzibai doesn't want to practice for more than 10 years. Although Muzibai doesn't lack time, it's not such a waste. I remember when I was refreshing in the store, I saw a pill called Whooshing Dan, which has the effect of whooshing. However, I don't know when it will be refreshed next time. In the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, almost all medical books are included, involving a wide range of effective methods. Closing the Shennong Pharmacopoeia, Muzibai felt that his cultivation had improved a bit, and his wooden energy was even stronger. If we continue like this, we can cultivate to Xuanjia in 2 months, at most 3 months. If the store can refresh 2 more qi-nourishing pills, Muzibai has confidence to break through within a month. The key to Xuanjia is to refine the body, and it requires a certain level of physical fitness to have a 10% chance of breaking through. If not, there is a risk. If the breakthrough fails, there will be backlash. But the cultivation of physical skills is extremely difficult, and few people can achieve this if they want to improve their grasp to 10% through physical skills. Therefore, most people break through by gambling. Therefore, Xuanjia became the first level for many seekers of immortality, making the vast majority hesitant. The Mu family has a great cause, a deep foundation, and a wide range of talented people. Many people who are from the market and lack resources will come to the Mu family with a more or less trying attitude to seek elixirs. And the Mu family will also provide some talented people with elixirs. If they can break through, they will become disciples or guards of the Mu family. Muzibai once saw those people in the market begging for medicine, kneeling at the entrance of the Mu family, which shows their desire for immortality, and also saw the difficulty of their cultivation of physical skills in order to break through. Strike the muscles and bones of the body with a stick, soak them in medicine, practice physical exercises repeatedly, and strengthen one's own physique. The difficulties remain fresh in Muzibai's memory. If Muzibai had never had the qi nourishing pill or the Xuanjia pill, it would probably have been at least a year before he could have broken through. Moreover, with Muzibai's physique, the risk is very high. Time quickly arrived at night. The little goose breathed a sigh of relief. Throughout the afternoon, she had been staring at Muzibai. It was hard to imagine that Muzibai had been here all afternoon, accompanying Wen Renlingmeng. What's even more terrifying is that Muzibai didn't feel any drowsiness or boredom, but instead enjoyed it, which shocked the little goose immensely. How did Muzibai persist? The little goose is a cultivator who can calm down. Even if it stands for a long time or doesn't fall asleep, it's not a problem. But as a patient with a loss of soul who hears people's spiritual dreams, they may feel a bit bored, drowsy, and want to find something else to do. Usually, the little goose would read books, practice, or find someone else to read for a while, and then busy with some things. If it really wants to continue reading like Muzibai, the little goose probably will go crazy. One day and one night, without closing his eyes, he just looked at someone's spiritual dream without doing anything else. His energy was still so good. Does this guy not need to sleep? Muzibai has never practiced before. And there's no need for Muzibai to do this. I thought to myself, isn't Muzibai really good at smelling Ling Meng? Love at first sight. The little goose's heart was a bit shaken, thinking to observe and observe again. Uncle, wait a moment, I'll go and serve the dishes now. Okay, thank you. Muzibai nodded slightly. I only heard the sound of opening and closing the door, and Muzibai rubbed his shoulder. Not to mention, I've been sitting here all day, my back is sore. Viewpoints. Points. 68481, we are about to break through the 70,000 point mark, and seeing this point makes us feel refreshed. Next, we just need to wait for the store to refresh. Currently, among the products browsed, most high-end products require over 100,000 points. Even if Muzibai never leaves, it will take 2 days to raise 100,000 points, not to mention encountering other desirable items. End of this chapter.